even more after. It took a year or two, but I came to the hard-fought realization that the only person I had any control over was myself. As long as I went to bed each night knowing that I had done everything I could to be honorable and do what was right, I was content and able to let all of the crap go, knowing, in the end, that I would be vindicated when the truth of things ever came out. Even if it didn't, it really wasn't about what everyone else thought, but about how I felt about myself. If anyone didn't like who I was, they could kiss my back. I had no idea at the time about the 180, but that is in effect what I had implemented. I wish I had known about this site then. If it even existed. There are too many details and betrayals to list that she had put me through, but suffice to say I tried for years to persevere through the lies and affairs simply because I had made a vow. I take them very seriously. I didn't want my kids to grow up in a broken home, but when she kicked me out of the house I had built myself, she took the decision from me. By the time I came into my own as a free single man, she was begging me to come back. But I was through. I was determined to never let myself get in such a position again. No more pathological liars and cheaters. No more letting someone have so much of me that I felt like my insides were gone. When they left, then I met STBX number 2. Again, I had actually met and danced with her at a bar near my home when she was just 18. Who expects an 18-year-old in a bar? It was karaoke night and I was entranced by her singing. I'm a sucker for a woman that can sing. When she told me her age while we were dancing, I laughed. I thought she was kidding. She looked 19 or 20 and, once again, why was an 18-year-old in a bar? It turns out she wasn't, and I vacated as quickly and with as much dignity as a 29-year-old could muster. She had told me while we were dancing that she had heard me sing the week before at a different bar, and I could tell she was infatuated with me. I let her down kindly and went on to pursue my single life for the next 4 years. Although, I admit I appeared to be a bit of a jerk throughout those single years. I really wasn't. I loved the hunt much more than the conquest. If it was too easy, I lost interest immediately. I've never been interested in one-night stands or thoughtlessly dishonoring some woman I knew was incompatible with me in some way. I just liked the game. It fed my ego enough to overcome the sense of self-consciousness and self-doubt I have dealt with since I was a child. A different story, and, even better, I was safe from being hurt again. I thought I was happy. I played guitar in a rock band. I had more than my share of attention from beautiful women. I made plenty of money. I could go out and do whatever I wanted. I thought I would stay that way forever. I did run into the STBX number 2 a few more times over those years, and when she turned 18, we became pretty good friends. Strictly platonic friends. I wasn't interested in romance from someone that much younger than I was. I'd had more than enough immaturity in my marriage. For her part, I was someone safe she could talk to about anything and who would intimidate any unwanted boyfriends or suitors whenever she needed me to. I didn't mind. I've done the same thing for complete strangers, getting unwanted advances from drunks in a bar. I admit to having white knight syndrome pretty badly. It comes from reading too much, I reckon, and holding honor as something sacrosanct and inviolate. No one can take it from you, but once you give it away you can never truly get it back. The problem is I expect everyone else to have the same view, and I tend to get irate when they don't. I've been in countless fights over the years. I'm guessing she picked up on this during that time. I didn't see her again for 2 years, although she would call out of the blue occasionally when she needed someone to talk to. Like when she miscarried her baby while with her then fiancé. I always made an effort to make her laugh and smile and feel better about herself. I ran into her again one night, coincidentally at the place I had met her and danced the first time. She was just about to turn 21 and, when she saw me, she threw herself into my arms. Much to the dismay of the obsessive drunk that had been hitting on her all night, I ended up taking him outside for a chat, and then came back in and talked to her and shot pool for hours before giving her a ride back to her place. Before I even made it home my cell was ringing and we ended up talking all night. She was saying everything I had longed to hear from a woman but had believed was no longer to be found. Honor, commitment, treat others as you would be treated, never giving up. Never selling out, growing old together, being one of those couples you see still smiling and holding hands after 50 years of marriage. Fate that I had happened into that particular place on that night. I admit it, I was lost at that point. We dated for a year and then got married. I thought everything was great, at first, but then around a year into the marriage, I caught her in an EA with an ex-boyfriend of hers and another one with some dork she had never actually seen while playing an MMO. We both enjoyed gaming together, being super sensitive to such things after what I had been through. I put her out. She continually called and pleaded with me that she was sorry and would never do it again if I let her come home. I broke down and let her a few days later but made her swear on everything she found holy that she would never do that to me again. She did, repeatedly. I accepted her sincerity and forgot about the incident. I put her through school for 2 years, but she never used that to get a job. I pushed her for years to get out and find work, but she never would. She never did much around the house either, really messy woman. Somehow, I ignored all of this and continued to love her and support her until last year. Suddenly the company I had worked for as an IT administrator for 10 years was struggling. A competitor had opened up literally across the street and there wasn't enough business to go around. The owners tried several different strategies to increase business, but we all knew it was ultimately doomed. The competitor could afford to undercut anything we tried. At that time, I agreed to a pay cut which would make our life much more of a struggle without her working. She finally got a job with a crappy pizza chain making barely above minimum wage. It was the only place she applied. It is also the only place she had ever worked, for a year or two when she was a teen. I couldn't understand why she was so obsessed with wanting to work there. She has many talents and, it shockingly turns out, is a great worker, never misses a day, always available to cover for someone else. Etc. This got us by until my employers went out of business in April of this year. Even then, with her salary and my unemployment, we were staying above water fairly easily. We even managed a short vacation at the end of this summer. Throughout everything, we have always been best friends, always doing everything together, laughing, and generally just happy. I guess something changed in the last month or two. She got a call the day before we were to come back from vacation that a family member had died. Her work kept her from going to the funeral, since she had just taken off for our vacation. She was upset that she didn't cry about it. I tried to comfort her as best I could but was really at a loss as to what to do or say. Eventually she seemed to put it behind her and everything returned to how we were, struggling a little financially, but generally happy and laughing like we always did. I was saving and studying for my certifications to increase my chances of landing another good job. I never needed them before. I was doing the work and my employers didn't require a piece of paper to tell them I knew what I knew. And she was steadily getting promoted at her work. I made every effort to stay upbeat, do all the house chores, cook for her, and anything else I could think of to make myself useful around the house while searching for work. I had no idea that she was going to get up on November 6th and tell me she was leaving me. When I asked why, she gave me the "it's not you, it's me" speech as well as the "I don't love you anymore" and the "I just feel trapped" ones. She claimed that, since her family member had died, she just doesn't feel anything for anyone other than anger. I immediately suspected she was in another with someone from her work. Most of the employees there are even younger than she is, and she did have a bad habit of coming home and gushing about various males that she worked with. I put up with as much of that as I could before telling her that no man wants to hear their significant other going on and on about another man. She swore repeatedly that she is not having an affair, but that she wants a divorce. She claims she tried, but just couldn't stay in our marriage. I told her that going to bed and waking up each morning expecting something different without actually doing anything different, or telling anyone, is more the definition of insanity than it is trying. But she remained adamant that she was leaving to stay with one of her new girlfriends from work and was unwilling to even consider working on our 9-year next month marriage. Despite my hard-won lessons from my first marriage, I was destroyed. I couldn't understand how someone who just a couple of months before had posted to all of her family and friends how much she loved me, because I could make her laugh even when she didn't want to, could just go against everything she had ever professed to believe in and leave the one person who had loved and supported her for so many years. I got angry, I got scared, I laid my heart out to her in great detail hoping she would reconsider, only to have her act totally indifferent to the pain she had caused. She is still acting that way. She says she still cares about me but doesn't want to be married anymore. She wants to go back to just being friends like we were. To my eternal shame, I actually considered it. She has been my best friend for so long that her absence is a hole I cannot fill. I even wrote to my mother-in-law when I didn't hear from my STBX for a couple of days after she left, and I was sick with worry. I didn't know if she was okay or not. I asked my MAL if her daughter was okay, and I ended telling her I thought she was having an affair. She claims that she is not, that she just got married so young that she needs some time to figure herself out and that this was normal. I should just give her some space. But whatever, the mother-in-law is the last person on the planet anyone should get relationship advice from. Several failed marriages, kids with different ones, and wasn't considered a fit custodian for any of them. I find I am unable to do that. Despite what she says, when I looked up the top 10 excuses that cheaters use, I found that she used 4 of them on me. I don't see anything normal about destroying every bit of honor you have along with a large chunk of your soul. I pointed out to her that I had been to that particular rodeo before, and I was fully aware what those brown steaming piles were. Any stupid in love feeling she was experiencing right now with some other man was doomed to die an agonizing death in a month or 3. And then she'd realize that the grass over there didn't look near as good as she thought. I've seen it several times before. She admitted that she might be making a mistake but was willing to live with the consequences. She also insisted, once again, that she was not having an affair and was not in love with anyone else. She went on to say she wasn't interested in anyone, period. She just didn't feel anything for anyone anymore. My problem with that is, why didn't she tell me, or anyone else, about this and try to get help? Why destroy a 10-year relationship over something that obviously needs to be fixed somehow, even if it is not for me? What have I ever done to her to deserve this? I'm trying to go NC, but it is very hard. I just don't understand. She wants an uncontested divorce and doesn't want anything from me. She's even offered to pay me a small amount of alimony over the next 3 years, since I discovered, the day after she left, that the government will actually pay for me to go back to school. Something I've wanted to do for years but always had too much work, responsibility to do. We had always said that if she ever started making enough for us to get by, it would be my turn to go back to school. I didn't take my act until I was 24 and I made a 29 on it. I could probably go to any school I wanted, but I always found it impossible to work the 60 to 80 hours I normally worked, raise 3 kids, and go to school at the same time. Now that my kids are grown and she has left, I find that for the first time in 20-something years I am only responsible for myself. No one else. If she hadn't left, I'd probably never have found out about the program. I told her, if she could do that, it would at least salve my pride a bit, so that I wouldn't feel like I was just used as a paycheck for 8+ years. But it still hurts that she could discard me so easily. I have the papers drawn up, but I haven't filed yet. I know I can't keep her here if she doesn't want to be here. But I find my confidence is shot and I still miss the woman she used to be. It will be 2 weeks tomorrow and I seem to be on the full roller coaster of the stages of grief. My resolve of NC wavers and fails occasionally. Yesterday I took a test for that Gov program and scored higher than the ladies there had ever seen. I missed one answer. I screwed up and texted her the results only to get a single congrats back. I knew, thanks to watching some videos, I shouldn't have done anything but act like I was happy to be single again, but the truth is I am not. Today I had to text her that she needs to get a PO box, since she won't give me the address where she is staying, so that I can put an address on the D papers. She responded cordially that she would either today or sometime this week. If she had left it at that I would have been fine and just not responded, but she didn't leave it at that. She added, having a rough week and I hit the ceiling. She's having a rough week. What the hell? I unloaded about how this is what she wanted, and how I couldn't believe she was trying to justify her actions to others when there is no excuse for what she has done. I kept unloading from there. All I kept getting was, I don't want to argue with you about this. She does the 180 way better than I do apparently. It's easy when you really don't care, I reckon. I really need to get back there quickly. I can't stand this pain and rejection. Also, in the interest of full disclosure, her justification for those EAs after the first year were because I was angry all the time. I pointed out I was grouchy frequently due to a medical condition that only got correctly diagnosed last year. I only got angry when I found out about the E's, neither of which is justification for cheating, since I don't think there is any. Other than that, our life was pretty happy. I think she's just trying to find bad points with me or our marriage to justify her current action, and is having trouble doing so. I did treat her very well. I just don't understand how anyone can do this to someone that loves them. I thought I was over most of the sadness but was reminded this morning that I am not. Our dog, who really loved her, a little more than he does me to be honest, must have forgotten that she was gone. When he didn't follow me into the living room when I woke this morning, I went back to look for him. He was up on the bed with his head on his paws staring forlornly at the place she used to sleep. I broke down a bit. For years, when I would get up to go to work, he would take my spot in the bed and lay down next to her until she woke up a few hours later. He looked so sad. He hasn't done that since the first morning she was gone. Well, I've spent the last couple of hours cleaning the kitchen, and my emotions have changed from sadness to what the hell was I thinking. I found at least a year's worth of garbage that she just left lying here and there. Good Lord, the trash can was right there. Throw your crap away. It's going to take me weeks to clean this house completely and I don't understand how someone can just stew in their own filth, or how I managed to not ignore it for so long. I guess love really is blind to the other's faults. I'm guessing that should have been a sign that she just plain old didn't care about me, us, or, ultimately, herself, and really hasn't from the beginning. I've taken pics, just in case, but I feel so stupid sometimes forever believing she really loved me. I know she doesn't know that real love, mature love, requires work to keep going. You're not going to feel it every minute of every day, but you know deep inside that you are much better with that person than you are without. I got her heavily into reading over the years, and I suspect that she is hung up on romantic love as being the only type. We've all had that at one time or another. Most folks realize that it is a simple chemical reaction in the brain that doesn't last very long and means, ultimately, absolutely nothing. The emotional affair I am sure of were years ago. I have no idea what she is doing now, but everything points to an affair. Even though she strenuously denies it, she is completely unfazed by leaving a 10+ year relationship. That alone points towards an affair. The only reason someone wouldn't mourn a, really good for the most part, relationship like that is if they are in the throes of the happy phase of an affair or have suddenly become a sociopath. Even people in bad relationships generally mourn the loss of what could have been. Either way, the result is the same. I have to either assume she is in an affair and lying about it, or that I might be in danger of getting in my sleep one night by a sociopath, or being completely happy with leaving and not even trying to make things work. She tells me it was nothing I did, but that just makes it worse for me. If it was nothing I did, how can I ever hope to not have this happen to me again someday? An affair is the only conclusion that anybody I have talked to has come to. Her having to go back 7-8 years, when talking to me the other day, to come up with a bad time in our relationship and try to shift the blame to me for her cheating back then just cemented in my mind that she is lying to me, her family, and our friends. She is just trying to justify an action that cannot be justified. She doesn't want the stigma of people thinking she is a bad person. Either that, or she was just using me all along to take care of her, instead of us being the team I thought we were. I admit, I was hoping someone on here would tell me, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Whatever it is, it hurts like all get out and has left me floundering, far from the man I used to be. The problem is, even though I have been through this before, my mind knows exactly what to do and how I should feel. But my stupid heart won't agree. It would be nice if we could just turn that off whenever we wanted. Apparently, she has somehow, even though just the night before she left, we were laughing and messing with each other and we both said, "Good night, I love you," when we went to bed. I guess I will never be able to understand duplicitous people, and what drives them to do what they do. Doesn't stop it from hurting. It is just maddening to know that they are not only hurting the ones that love them, but themselves too. And nothing you do or say will dissuade them from their course of self-destruction, karmic retribution. Usually, by the time they realize their error. Some never will. It is always someone else's fault. It is far too late to fix what they have broken. The main problem I have with the plethora of vampire stories, and the romance genre in general, is that it promotes that giddy feeling of romantic love as the ideal. It makes people think that if that feeling is no longer there, then the relationship must be over. Thus, they go from relationship to relationship seeking that feeling over and over again. They have no idea that there is something even better than that, if they just held on and worked at it. That romantic love feeling is just an evolutionary trick to ensure procreation of the species, and generally only lasts long enough for that to occur. The mature love, or true love, of a partner that has stuck with you through thick and thin for decades, and that you have complete and total faith in, is by far the one most to be desired. Yet rarely do any of those stories promote that. It is nowhere near as exciting. Well, I went out last night for a couple of drinks and an attempt to shoot pool. It is too hard staying in the house at night sometimes. I had eye surgery a few years ago that did not go well, and I ended up not only mostly blind in that eye, but it now no longer tracks with my good eye unless I consciously force it. I usually wear an eye patch, but I am really self-conscious about that as well. It was the first time I have played pool since I lost my depth perception. I was pretty awful compared to how good I used to be. Once upon a time, I could probably have made a living playing. Not anymore. I did win when I played against someone else, after playing 3-4 games by myself just to get the hang of playing with one eye. I just got lucky beating him, so I let him keep the table. I did play enough to know I can get good again, just going to take some adjustment and learning how to play again. On the way out, 2 women told me the eye patch was nice and told me to come back again. I just showed them the dimples and said, "Thanks." I was still grinning a bit walking out the door, even though I wasn't interested in anyone there. That did make me feel a bit better. I'm still vacillating through emotions, but I'm determined to get back to where I was. Still working out every day and doing whatever I can to stay busy. I should be studying for my exam, but I keep reading the same paragraph over and over and still couldn't tell you what it says. I'm going to try and buckle down this weekend and get the studying done. I don't have much left to do anyway. I don't like being down on myself and so self-conscious. I know I shouldn't. It isn't productive, yet I still do it off and on. It is hard not to. Weeks later, I'm doing better. I've come to the realization that it was nothing I did that caused this, and that if she doesn't want me, that is her problem. I know who and what I am, and I am happy with that. I've run across quite a few others in the last few days that seem to be tickled with who I am too. My sense of honor won't allow me to do anything about that until the gavel hits the wood, but it is nice to know I shouldn't have been so down on myself. It is just hard when you get the "I'm not in love with you anymore" speech. Makes you question yourself and wonder if something is wrong with you, especially when it comes out of the blue. I've been polite and honorable with the STBXW since she came by yesterday. After not talking to her at all for a week, she stayed for a few hours and we talked and even laughed together a few times. It was kind of bittersweet for me, but I've given up asking why. It doesn't matter. I don't think she knows herself. Her emotions aren't what they should be for someone leaving a 10-plus year relationship. She's not in the happy fog of an affair. I checked her PC and phone after she left. Nothing, and she swears it is not that. Damn if I don't believe her now, having seen the real deal firsthand more than once. But she's not upset about losing everything we had either. She knows I don't have a problem letting her go and being on my own. She seems to understand that something is off with her. But that same off thing makes her not be overly concerned with it. I admit that does make me sad. For her instead of myself. I wish her the best, but I have a feeling that everything I went through the last few weeks is going to just fall on her at some point out of the blue. Like it did me. And it won't be pretty. It pretty much has too, unless she has somehow become an emotionless sociopath. Highly doubtful. It really does seem like her uncle's death has triggered some type of emotional shutdown. I'm dreading the fallout when it does, but I have to move on myself or go insane. I made my case weeks ago that I loved her more than anything, but I would be unable to go back after this. She said she understood. I am sure she does, on an intellectual level, but not on an emotional one. Since she doesn't seem to be feeling any at the moment. When, if it does hit her on an emotional level, your guess is as good as mine what will happen then. I have no experience with this. Woman cheating on me. Yes, woman being a self-centered professional victim using lies to get people to feel sorry for her. Yes, woman just out for a good time and nothing else. Yes, this after 10 years of a predominantly great relationship. Not a clue. She doesn't want anything from me, so I have no problem being nice to her. She's not after anything other than what she originally came with. I made her take some of the things I bought for her. Guitar, PC, gaming stuff. Over the years, and will likely give her some more things that she'll need for her own place that she hasn't thought of yet. It really is puzzling and sad all mixed together. All I can do is take her at her word that she just fell out of love with me over the last couple of months and give her the divorce. Hopefully she'll be happy. I'm sure I will be one day. I'll be okay. Not sure about her, but there's nothing I can do about it that won't make things worse. On a side note, I had one of the pretty women I met last week contact me today. We talked for hours. When I explained that I wasn't looking for any dates yet and about why I insist on staying true to my vows until the D was final, she sent this text. You best watch your back though. By the time you actually will date, you will have a line a mile long and not enough days in the week. Days later, she came by again today. She knows something is wrong but throws herself into work and everything else to avoid dealing with it. I tried to tell her that although she and I both know that we will never be together again, she knows I'm unable to ever give her another chance. That she really does need to get some help. For her own sake, she'll remember what I said and try down the road, I reckon. But that was all I was able to do for her. She appears a little sad, but it is just surface emotion, just like the laughs I can still evoke from her. She is dreading confronting her true feelings and is doing everything she can to put it off, which is just going to make it worse when it does boil over. Like I said, she understands this on an intellectual level. That doesn't seem to help. Reading a few books on the phenomenon at the moment. It does explain why it occurred so suddenly a couple of months ago when her uncle died and why she never said anything to me or anyone else and was unwilling to even try and work on things. She keeps doing everything in her power to avoid dealing with his death, us, or anything else beyond surface feelings. Her family is starting to catch on that something is wrong beyond what they thought, although they still don't understand what it is like I do. She admitted that, while I have let it all out and started to move on, she is still stuffing things in a closet fit to bursting. It is not going to be pleasant when that door comes open. At least she and I will both know I did everything I could do to try and help. I even offered to pay for IC for her if she wanted. No strings, I am moving on regardless. She just doesn't want to face any of it. I have no choice but to wash my hands of it now and continue on. There is nothing else I can think of to do. She brought me the stuff I need to get the D papers filled in properly. She even dropped off a bit of money to help with the bills. I wasn't expecting that, but it was nice. Just sorry for the situation all the way around. But I know I've done all I could. I also know I'll be fine once that gavel hits. STBXW stopped by this morning to get a computer part I told her she could have, and drop off another that I needed. I met her outside, swapped the parts and just said, Happy Thanksgiving. Tell your family I said hello and Happy Thanksgiving to them too. I wasn't being sarcastic. She knew I meant it. She looked sad that I didn't invite her in and I heard her say, Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a good day to my back as I walked back in and shut the door. I haven't heard anything else from her today. I was able to spend part of the afternoon with some of my family and that helped while I was there. Now I am stuffed close to bursting and alone. The 180 is much easier when you are angry or indifferent. I'm just sad. The senselessness of it all irritates me. The fact that she has destroyed my trust beyond all hope of repair for unknown reasons irritates me. The fact that I know she is screwing herself up every bit as much she has me, and isn't even aware of it, irritates me. So why the hell am I sad? I hate dwelling on what could have, what should have been. Totally useless waste of time and energy. I know that, yet I am unable to stop it. First Thanksgiving in 10 years we weren't together. I can't even go out to try and take my mind off of it. No one goes out on Thanksgiving. Most places aren't even open around here. So, I am stuck in this house surrounded by ghosts of memories that won't leave me be. I hope Christmas isn't this way. My comment, part 2 coming in the afternoon. Do you think there will be a happy ending from this? Comment down and see you in the ending.